All right, guys. Now we're gonna get started with the mobile version of the website. So let's make this a little smaller here, and we're gonna have a few. Some styles are gonna vary, whether it's a tablet or whether it's a smartphone. So basically, for tablets, I want this to be two columns. Okay, I want just two columns. But on smartphones, I want it to be stacked in one column. But let's handle the navigation first. So the navigation is going to be the same on tablet and mobile. Now, in our HTML files, we already have a link to mobile CSS, and basically it kicks in when the screen is 768 or less. So let's keep style CSS open so we can use this as a reference, and let's take mobile CSS and let's bring this over to the side here. And let me see can we fit all this on here? Let's see if we can do this. Go like that. All right, so hopefully this works out for you guys. You can see this good. So we're going to start with the navigation. Now, one thing right off the bat that I want to do is get rid of the social icons unless it's on, larger than 768. So let's put a comment here. We'll say navigation, and then let's take the main dash nav ID and target the class of social, and let's set that to display none and save. So that will get rid of it. Now this doesn't look bad. It really doesn't. And this would probably be fine if you never planned on adding any other links. If you just had these two links, home and about. But I don't like to do things that way. I like to plan it. I like to make it scalable, basically. So we're gonna switch this around a little bit. Let's take the navigation container. So we have main dash nav and container, and let's set the grid template columns to just one FR. Okay, so basically just on top of each other. And I'm also going to say grid gap, let's do 1.2 rem. All right, now we want these to be centered, right? So we're going to take the UL, so let's say main dash nav UL, which is the menu, and we're going to justify self to center. Okay, so if I do that, it pushes it in the middle. And then, actually, I think that's all I want to do with the UL. So here we had justify self end, which had it all the way over. Now we have it in the middle. Now the logo, we want to do the same thing. So actually, what we can do is just add onto this main nav logo, and that puts it in the middle. Now for the link, I want to lessen the padding just a little bit. So we have 0.75 rem for the padding around this, but I want to make this a little smaller. So let's say main nav and UL LIA, and let's change the padding to 0.50 rem. So it just makes it a little bit smaller. All right, now that's pretty much all we need to do for the menu. So you'll see as soon as we hit 768, it turns into that. And it's still sticky, of course. All right, now for tablet size, I want this right here. On tablets, I want this to be the same, so I'm going to leave that for now. We're not doing mobile yet, or I shouldn't say mobile. Tablets are also mobile, but we're not doing small smartphone devices yet. So I'm going to leave this for now. And let's move on to this area, which is the home articles, and I want those to be in two columns. So let's say home dash articles, and it has an articles container, which is our grid container, and we're going to set grid dash template dash columns, and let me just show you over here what we have it set to. So we have it set to repeat 3 1FR, but I just want it 2, so I'm going to say repeat 2 1FR. All right, we'll save that. So let's see, the first child here. Yeah, we want to get rid of these spans because that's kind of ruining things. So let's grab the first child. So we'll say home articles, and we want to target articles container, and we want the immediate element, the immediate first child element, and let's set grid template columns, because remember the first and the last, they're also grids, as you can see right here, and they have grid template columns of 2 1FR. We just want to set it to a single column, so just 1FR like that. All right, and then we want to clear the span, because right here you can see we're doing the span. So I'm going to say grid dash column and just set it to 1, which is just, you know, the default. So let's save that. And now this is put back into it's just like the rest of them. Let's do the same for the last one. So we can actually just copy this and put a comma here and then change this to last child. Save that. And there we go. So now we just have 2 columns. Okay, no matter what. First and last are the same as the rest. Good. Now I think that's good for the tablet. In fact, let's check it out. So actually we'll use our Chrome tools here, and let me just move this to the side, and we'll hit the little icon here for the devices, and this would be an iPad. Let me just stretch this out. And right now this iPad is in landscape mode, so I'm going to just flip it, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay, which looks pretty good. Even the footer I'll keep like that for devices that are 768 like this. But on smaller devices, like let's choose iPhone X, this doesn't look right. So we want this to be in the middle, so just take up the whole thing here. And then I want these to all be stacked. The footer is definitely not responsive, so we want that to be stacked as well. About page, we want to change that up. The page container, same thing with the article page. So now let's deal with smaller devices. So I'm going to get out of this mode here, and let's bring this back down. And now in this mobile.css, I'm going to add a media query. So I'm going to say media, and I'm going to do a max width of, let's say, 600 pixels. And then anything we put in here is only going to pertain to anything under 600 pixels. So let's take what we need to stack, meaning I want just one column. So I'm going to say stack grid items, and there's a few things I want to do that to. One is going to be the showcase container, this right here. If you remember, or I can just show you real quick. Let's see, showcase container is set to grid template columns repeat 2 1FR. We want it to just be just 1FR. So we're going to take this. Well, actually, we should probably put the selector in here first. So let's say showcase container, and we just want to change this to just simply 1FR like that. And if we save, now that goes all the way across. There's some other things we want to stack, such as these home articles. So let's say home ID home articles, and we want the container, which is articles container, and we want those to stack. So we'll save. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Yeah. All right, so what else? The footer. So we want these footer items to stack. So let's go ahead and put a comma here, and let's say main dash footer, and we want the footer container, and save. And that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Main footer. Why isn't that working? We called it main footer, correct? Let's just check it over here. So we have main footer, footer container, and it's set to basically for 1FR. Oh, you know what it is? It's the span. The last child here we span, so we want to clear that up. So let's take this selector right here and put that in, and let's grab the, what was it? The last child is what we span. So let's say last child, and whoops, forgot the colon. And then we want to set the grid column to 1 and save, and now it stacks. Because if you have something spanning however many columns, 4 columns, it's gonna you can't have just one FR. It's gonna adapt to whatever the amount of columns that you're spanning. So we want to make sure that that's set to 1. All right, now another thing I want to do here is this looks kind of really clumped together. So I want to add a faint border between the modules here, or whatever you want to call these items. So let's go and say main footer, and take the footer container, and let's say all items in the footer container. I'm going to add a border bottom of 444 dotted 1 pixel, and then some padding just to separate it a bit. So we'll say padding dash border, and let's set that to 1 rem. And oops, what's going on here? Padding, did I say padding border? What the? Padding bottom. Okay, so as you can see now, we have a border separating all of these with some padding. Now this one here doesn't look right because of we have the list items and we have a border for each one. So this kind of looks funny having, it looks like a double border really. So I want to remove that one, and remember we have the nth child. I also want to remove this one. I don't think that needs to be there because this has its own background and it looks completely separate. So that's pretty easy to do. We can just say main footer container, and then let's say we want the item, we want the last child, so colon last child, and then we also want, let's just copy this, we want this one here, which is going to be the third one down, right, the third item. So we'll use nth child, so nth child 3, and let's just set border to none and save. And now you can see that border is gone. And oh, actually, you know what, we don't want, the last child would be this one, which I guess, yeah, we would want to remove that one. But if we want to move this one as well, we can use nth child. So we'll copy that, and let's do nth child 4 and save, and now that border is gone. All right, and we could have done it the opposite way and just chose this first child and nth child 2 and just added a border. We could have did that as well, I guess. That probably, I guess that would be a better way to do it. Yeah, let's actually do it that way. It's less CSS. And I'm not going to cut this out of the video because I just want to show you can do things different ways. So instead of doing this, instead of putting a border on all and then removing, let's just pick out the first child. So first dash child, and then the nth child 2, and we'll add the border, and then there's no need to do this. and it's less CSS. So if I save, we get the same result. So we just added the border here and here instead of to all and then removing it. All right, so I mean, you know, I could cut that out and just redo it, but I want you guys to see that there's different ways to do things, and sometimes you realize that when you're writing your code. I think, let's see, what do we have left? The page container. So right now, I mean, this is done, the home page, but if we go to About, that doesn't look right. That's, you know, that's way too thin. So we just want to put this, we want to stack this into one column. So one FR basically. So let's take the page container and let's say grid template columns, one FR. So we're going to stack it. And I also want to align everything to the center on really small screens. So we'll do text align center. Now, if I save this, let's see. Well, yeah, I guess that does work. Let's look at the article page. Yeah, that works. But I do want to clear the row span, because remember, we do have a row span. If we look at, let's see, where is it? If we look at the page container first child, we have a grid row spanning here. So I'm going to just grab that, and we're going to set grid row just to 1 and save. All right, so that looks pretty good. So our site is now complete. Let's go ahead and check it out in the actual devices. So we'll open up our dev tools here, click that icon. So this is an iPhone X. Everything looks pretty good. Footer is stacked. We have our 2 borders. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Let's check the About page. All right, that's quite a bit of text there. We probably didn't need that much text, but that's fine. And if you guys want to add on to I would actually suggest that you add on to these projects. You know, add more pages, add more little widgets and stuff like that. Let's see, what do we have? The article page. Take a look at that. Looks pretty good. If you want to stack the flex items here, you could do that, but I think that that's okay. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's check Pixel 2. Yep, same deal. Let's check the iPhone 5, which is kind of sometimes hard to make look good, but I think that this is pretty good. The About page. Oh, you know what we should do is lessen the font size for the L heading on mobile devices. So we'll say L dash heading. I think I have it set to 3 rem, so let's set font size to 2 rem. Okay, and yeah, that looks better. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this project, and hopefully you learned quite a bit about how to use CSS Grid. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.